Hello everyone, welcome back to another video by EClip on my YouTube channel. As you could probably notice, I finished the renovation of the studio. So we did some acoustic improvements as well as some look. We changed the couch on the background, we changed all of the panels from a side, and as you can notice, we opened the window. And window was the main reason why I started renovating studio, because before that I had everything closed and it was pretty hard to spend a lot of time inside the room without any windows. So main reason for that was to open a window, and we used the opportunity to fix some of the acoustic treatment, changing the carpet. As you can see, we did some improvements on the table as well. So before I go into more creative topics about, as I already announced, I will start working on my music, and then after every session I'm gonna record and I'm gonna upload that to my YouTube channel, and that way you will be able to see all the processes that I've been going through, starting with the sound design of the single shot sounds. Then later on I will add one by one of those sequences, and that way you will see how the track is growing and actually what is my approach when I build my own tracks. But before we skip to that part, I just want to cover one more, as I had one really interesting comment on my video of kick and bass alignment, as I really skipped that part, as I usually do only 16 notes of the bass line, the rolling bass line, like machine gun bass line. So I showed how you can fix by reducing the first harmonic of the bass line only if you have the one note of the bass line, and if you have only 16s with a blue cat, and reducing the first harmonic. So now I'm gonna show you how you can do it if you have the glide bass line. And the glide bass line I chose for this video because the glide is actually creating pitch from one note to the other. So basically the first harmonic will be moving left and right. So we can solve that in several ways, but it would require maybe automation if you want to follow the first harmonic. But then if you change the note to the bass line, or if you change that key, then you will need to change the automation as well. So instead of that, there's much easier way, and I'm going to show you with FabFilter Pro MB how you can do by sidechaining and reducing by a sidechain that first harmonic, actually the area of the first harmonic. So let's jump on this one. So let's jump in the lesson, and as I already mentioned, this lesson will gonna be what we can do to fix this position where kick and bass are summing together in this area over here, and when we do not have the same note rolling bass line. So basically I prepared this glide bass line, as the glide, as I already mentioned, is kind of really nice thing because the first harmonic is moving left and right regarding changing the pitch. So we can just find the first harmonic of the bass line, as already mentioned in the video, and reducing this first harmonic only on the first note where the kick and bass are basically overlapping. But if we have something like this, and if we see the first harmonic over here will be moving left and right because it's changing the pitch. So we could always try to automate this band, but this is a really problematic kind of thing. So basically there's a much easier way. We're using FabFilter Pro MB, and what I usually do when it comes to this case scenario is basically creating a low shelf band, attack on 0, release on 0, and compression I put around -20. Something like this. And then basically the main thing is turning on the sidechaining. And in Pro MB, when you go to expert, when you press this EXT, which stands for external, we are telling that the sidechain trigger will be external. So basically by pressing external, it doesn't do anything because it does not have any trigger. So basically, only from the kick on the send, I'm sending the signal to ProMB, and then it will get the signal from the kick when it needs to start to compress this area. And usually you can find your best spot, but usually I put it around 150 and I never go more than 24 dB per octave. Again, I explained in details in the video Kick and Bass Alignment 2 weeks ago that was released on my YouTube channel. So you can check that video, as this is a part 2 video of Kick and Bass Alignment. Just in that video I forgot to mention if we are changing, because I usually use only the rolling bass lines. So basically I do not use much of this technique, but if you are using the glides or whatsoever, or if you are changing the notes of the bass line, then that first harmonic will not be on the same position. So basically what you can do is this, turning the sidechain, going in expert and pressing the external, and then sending the sidechain signal from the kick. And basically every time the kick punches, it will compress this area, and basically it will kind of solve the problem by reducing this low end. As in this case, now the kick will be untouched, it will breathe, it will provide that low end, and when the kick stops, it will release, and we will have this area of the first harmonic playing without being reduced. I know that this is not a perfect aligning, but there are no any perfect solution for the problems that we are making while we are making music. But basically I'm just trying to put a lot of techniques that I know, and you can try all of them and you can decide which one is working for you. This is how I do it, and this works for me really well. In the past I used to make these small bands, and then I was trying to follow this first harmonic and I was writing the automations. But later on I was changing the notes and I was doing something else, and I really now I'm trying to use the techniques that will save me a lot of time, something that's kind of working with automations. And this technique will work with any kick, with any bass line, with any tones. You can do this technique as well if you are using the straight rolling bass line, as this trick is pretty easy to follow, and basically the setup is not that hard. So basically you can use this technique even if you want to align kick and bass with the rolling bass lines. Now from the next video I'm gonna start writing on my music, and it's gonna probably be this track, but probably not with this bass line. This was already prepared. This bass line with the glide I inserted for this video. So F sharp is something that I didn't do for a long time, and I like F sharp a lot. So I'm gonna probably continue working with this one, 138, and I will probably make much more videos because now I will work on my music. And after every session I'm gonna turn on the camera and I'm gonna record what I did and trying to explain, and then I will upload. So you will be able to see the progress, something similar that I did in Psychedelic Tips Vol 2. So I will not explain in details how you can make the kick and bass and everything, because I recorded that in Psychedelic Tips Vol 2 in details, and I really cannot go through that process again. But I will, all the creative part that I'm doing, I'm gonna record and write, because the creative part is kind of easier, but this technical stuff regarding the sound quality and mixing, especially when it comes to drums, it's extremely complicated, and literally it took me 18 years to get to the knowledge where I'm satisfied with, and that I'm able to create some templates like this one. So it took me 18 years, so I'm finally able to create the drum templates that sounds really tough and really good, the kick and bass alignment with the hi-hats and whatsoever. So it's a pretty complicated process, and I will probably not do that anytime soon. So basically I'm gonna start writing my music and I'm gonna record. That way you will be able to hear what is gonna come on my label Akasha Music that we're gonna start pretty soon, starting to release. As Akasha, I supposed to start last year, but regarding the situation and everything, I just didn't know what to do, and basically we live in that time where everything is kind of questionable. So now I decided to start releasing and go like nothing happens, but I needed some time to connect everything, all the dots, and to understand and to try to survive all this madness that is happening to all of us. So basically, I'm not gonna go inside that topic. Thank you for watching and see you soon. Bye. Ciao.